Hello, and welcome to Opening Bars. Virtual Insanity is Jamiroquai's best-known music video, garnering multiple nominations on the 1997 MTV Awards. In fact, it seems like the fascination with the moving floor was the main object of public interest, rather than the song itself. Nevertheless, it is a very catchy and soulful tune. Let's look at these advanced chord constructions. We are using the treble and bass clefs on our grand staff, but the most noticeable thing, of course, is the abundance of flats, 6 of them in fact. So from our music theory, we would likely know that we are either in G-flat major or E-flat minor. This is a rather unusual key, and certainly music written with guitar by songwriters would rarely use such a key signature because it's awkward. Guitarists prefer chords with open strings because they sound fuller and richer, often staying close to the nut of the headstock. Even for songwriters who create using the piano, they tend to shy away from these keys, finding G-flat and C-flat to be uncustomary and uncomfortable. In fact, there is a fascinating analysis of the most popular keys used in pop songs based on the over 30 million songs available on Spotify, with G major being the most popular, and major keys being far more prevalent than minor ones. It's very interesting, and I recommend taking a look. As a curiosity, E-flat minor, or as it's documented on the web list using its enharmonic equivalent D-sharp minor, is at the very bottom of the entire list of 24 keys used by pop music on Spotify. It's even lower than the minor key signature using 7 flats. To make sense of these chords, we should arrange them in their closest positions, placing each note on an adjacent line, or space as the case may be, to evaluate their composition. So if we move the lowermost B-flat and D-flat up an octave, we can see the 4-note chord clearly, all notes of which form an E-flat minor 7 chord. This is a very helpful tip to see the chords for what they are. So if we apply the same technique in the second half of the first measure, with an A-flat in the bass, and if we move the B-flat in the right hand to the top of the pile, we have all of the notes within an A-flat major chord, with an added 7th and 9th. Now, for the remaining chords, I won't actually move the notes on the page for the rest of our analysis, but you should train your mind to see the chords in these positions with your eyes. Beginning in measure 2 then, we have a D-flat, F, A-flat, C-flat, and E-flat, making a D-flat 9 chord. And then we have a G-flat, B, D, and an F natural to form a G-flat 7, with that F being the major 7th. Moving on to measure 3, we have the C raised from the key signature to a C natural, as we might expect if we were using the melodic minor scale, adding a minor 3rd, the E-flat, a diminished G, 5th, a B-flat 7th, and a duplicate C natural. What a great chord! This can be labeled in different ways, including a minor 7 flat 5, but I prefer using the half diminished symbol, or that O with a slash through it, and the number 7. The second last chord is based on C-flat, adding an E-flat, G-flat, and B-flat, which becomes the major 7th here, with a duplicate C-flat which comprises C-flat major 7. And finally we come to a B-flat, D natural, F-sharp, which is enharmonically spelled as a G-flat here, and A-flat, so it's labeled a B-flat 7 with a raised 5th. What a fantastic chord progression. The harmonic analysis using traditional symbology is not really that telling, I suppose, unless you consider the progression as a cycle of fifths. That means that the first measure is a 5/7-1 cadence to A flat major, which is 4, and then it itself is a 5 of 7, and that chord is also a 5/1 to the relative major key of G flat major, here labeled as a 3. Then we somewhat unexpectedly move to the raised C natural instead of C flat for a 5 of the raised 6th. Of course, we are fully expecting now that that C natural will lead to an F natural in our cycle of fifths, which here would be the very powerful 5 of 5, but instead we get a very brilliant slide through a chromatic passing tone, the C flat major 7, to the 5 of 1. This is so amazingly clever and fun. Now let's turn our attention to the rhythm. The rhythm remains the same for every measure. Let's play the right hand first with pulsing quarter notes to get that syncopation just the way we want it. Now let's get that funky bass line with the 16th pickup under our fingers. Now let's put that together. Wow, that's so great. Not tremendously difficult, but it requires practice to bring some regularity and definition to the rhythm. Now that you know all of the notes, you can concentrate on advancing specific piano techniques. One skill you can work on while practicing is, like we have done in other lessons, is to balance the chords so you can hear the delightful crunchiness of the tight voicing. No need to highlight any specific notes or interior melodic lines. One suggestion to improve your overall musicianship would be to practice revoicing the chords. For instance, take the bottommost note of each chord and place it on the top of the stack. You can see that I've written that out for you here. I'll play this for you right now. You can keep doing this a couple more times, moving the bottommost note of the right hand to the top of the chord. This is a fantastic skill for pianists, especially jazz musicians, to master. One additional technique you may wish to try out is to thin out the texture of the 4-note chord, reducing it down to 3. The obvious notes for potential deletion would be any doubling of the bass note or possibly the 5th of a chord. At the same time, you really want to maintain a quiet and effective voice leading, much like I've notated here. Notice that I've changed the last 2 chords a little bit. Have fun and explore. I hope you enjoyed your lesson today. Remember, don't just play notes. Make music. Until next time, thanks for listening.